Hi, I'm Andrew Swan, eighth grade teacher at Bigelow. And you might have already seen me in videos like the one I made about uh, a few I made about the NTA proposed schedule and about the very colorful split hybrid thing. Um, I'm making this one on Wednesday, the 26th, before the school committee votes, because I'm talking more generally about just the whole situation. And in a way, I'm responding to a message I got yesterday from during that school committee meeting from someone in the Newton community whose children have already had as students, and that's all I'll say about who. But one thing this person told me was said, I really don't know why the teachers do not want to teach, and said I'm causing stress to, I guess, me or the whole group of teachers are causing stress, um, and so on. And at the end, this says, why wouldn't teachers even try to go back to school? Well, I have a lot to say about that. I want to be back here. This is a photo of my classroom. Like, I want almost nothing more than to be working normally next month right back here. Except here no longer exists. So that's the reality. This is what my room looks like now. If custodians had to move things around, here's another maybe better shot, and I'll shrink myself down. Ooh. This is it. Room for 12 students, 3 by 4, right? Around here. Spaced 6 feet apart, the minimum CDC guidelines requirements. You can cram in exactly 12. Those kids are up against the wall. Kids in over here in pointing, right? In this row are gonna have a hard time seeing the screen. Over here's where I gotta be. I gotta be up in the front of the room, apparently, pretty close to this other desk. So I guess I won't be standing there much. Yeah, that's going to be awkward. That would be that split. And with the split hybrid, remember, I do all this to come in or each child's coming in just once a week for this experience, 2 mornings a week. This is very different. I'm not going to get into the whole like hybrid thing necessarily again, but there's this. Now, remote teaching is hard, okay? Remote teaching is hard. Let me show you the little bit of the setup that I have. So I'm sitting in that chair right now as I record this. It's hard to record myself recording. I fortunately have this huge green screen behind me. Here's another shot. Here's where I am. I'm in this basement spot that I've set up for myself. I got like the ring light to make myself look a little less pale. Again, the green screen. This was a space I'm fortunate to have, okay? Just because the house that I live in. I'm not looking forward to being down here when it's a lot colder in the winter, but I guess I'll have to sort that out later. This is hard. Being remotely connected, relies on so much. It's not at all ideal. Just like this is not at all ideal. We want to go back to this. Whatever it is, though, I'm going to teach children however I can. But again, it's not a matter of like wanting or not wanting to work. That's just so far from the truth. And another thing that's just hard to really is just how much we teachers love our students and care about our students, even kids I haven't even met yet. Right now, they're just names on a list mostly, or seventh graders who passed in the hall, and I'm still so worried about what I or like a colleague might indirectly, transmit to them. Like here, this is going to be the reality of it whenever I guess we're in the building. It just comes with the job, I guess. I don't know if there's any way to really like express or fully explain that responsibility, that care, that love that we have, that we feel. And it's been nice to be compared to essential workers or called essential workers who absolutely must get back to work, like police or fire or grocery store workers or the whole other list. Again, people have said like we're not willing to work. I'm totally willing. I've been working actually. I never really stopped, and many of us haven't. It's just when will we get to be like here in this kind of room working this way versus like the remote, which is like I said, harder, messier. It's not all about just hanging out in our PJs. I'm not going to get into a thing of like dividing how like teachers are like more essential or like harder or anything than like, again, nurses or police, fire, other folks who've worked. It's just different. Okay. It's just different. For example, like we're trying to get a long-term working relationship with kids for several months and kids of various ages. But again, I don't think that's the right kind of road to go down. What I do need to say is that I feel very lucky, actually. Again, partly for being able to like set up this kind of situation, which again, many of my colleagues have a lot harder time with. But I'm also lucky in many other ways as well. I don't have pre-existing health conditions that would make me more susceptible to COVID-19. My kids I have two children who are teenagers, also in high school, so they're they're up there somewhere. They're probably fine. I definitely feel more able to leave them behind than many of my colleagues who have much younger children, and it'd be a lot harder for me back when they were younger. I know. I'm a veteran teacher in Newton with some connections, and so, but with like administration, with family members, with colleagues, and so on. Not everybody has that advantage. I've had 16 years in Newton, so that I think helps. I teach civics, so actually all of this is pretty much my curriculum, which again is much harder if I taught world languages or many other things. It would be a lot more challenging to make this kind of connection. And let's face it, I'm a white male under the age of 50. So that helps me like health wise and socially in many ways. And in some ways probably empowers me to be able to make this message. And I don't have to worry about my tone, for example, or things like that. So I'm especially concerned for my colleagues who are not in those situations, do not have the privileges that I have. That's who I'm really communicating for. Not really just for myself, but for those who don't have those, new teachers who don't feel like they can speak up for fear of keeping their job. Again, folks in different kinds of positions, folks who are not white males under the age of 50, folks who do have specific like health concerns for themselves, and younger kids, older family members. Again, the way the survey was worded about who's able or unable is an odd kind of way to present it, and this has been established. That survey was far from perfect. And again, I'm worried about like my elementary colleagues. Now we've got a divide and conquer thing of who is and what levels are and aren't expected to come into the building. Within the building too, we've got special ed colleagues, ELL teachers, for example, who are expected to come in and aren't confident enough yet in the quality of the ventilation, for example, in our buildings, the PPE, the expectations for masks. I mean, it just goes on, right? And speaking of going on, I need to wrap this message up if you've gotten this far. But there's a lot more to it than just being like willing to work. Where, how we're working, how hard we're working. Those are separate kinds of things. And again, the responsibility, the love and care that we feel for these students, that's where this is coming from. Again, this ain't about trying to just avoid having a gas budget. There's so much more to it than that. And again, some people have maybe ticked off with this message, but maybe others I've been able to just give you a bit more insight into our perspective as educators. We're doing the best we can.